interview.
Hello, friends. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone this evening? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. It's a nice, cool evening. The last day of January of 2016. I'm here with my grandson, Xavier, or as I call him, DJ. Hello, friends. How are you? I'm here with my grandson, DJ. Born name Xavier, but that's just what I call him. I am going to briefly talk about. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining. I'm going to briefly talk about. Can I get a binky? How are you this evening? Good, good. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining. My subject for tonight is not don't bury your money with you. And I'm just going to do a little intro because I'm having a little family time. As you can see, I got people going in and out of the door. And this is my grandson, Xavier. I nicknamed him DJ. I just think that's just cute, even though his initials are not that at all. But I just want to talk briefly about what it means. DJ says hi also. Thanks for joining, Matthew. Just talk briefly about not burying your money with you. And what I mean about that is this is my third generation. Thank you. Thank you. This is my third generation and my mother's fourth. This is my grandson, my son's son. And it's important that we leave a legacy for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. Too often, when we live our lives, we tend to consume everything we can on ourselves, and we don't think about our children's future or our grandchildren's future. I don't want my grandson to grow up and have to start from square one and have nothing to build that's been built on. And what I mean by that is he has to start from scratch. He has nothing passed down to him. He has no financial stability and no financial help that's been passed down to him. He has to build everything that he's going to have from square one. That's irresponsible of me to leave him in that position. That's my responsibility to make sure that he has a head start in life. He's getting a little cranky here. But it's our responsibility as parents and grandparents to make sure that our children have a foundation and that every generation should not have to start from scratch. If you think about ranchers who have had ranches for hundreds of years, those ranchers have passed their legacy down from generation to generation. The father or great-grandfather may have obtained the ranch, and then he passed it down to the grandfather, and then the grandfather passed it down to the father, and the father passed it down to the son. So this legacy that they had, this family business that has been kept through generations, that great-grandfather thought about his future generations. Thank you for joining, CS Diva. That great-grandfather thought about his future generations and how he can make a living for those and not let them have to start from square one. Thank you, Jack. It's irresponsible of us that when we're alive, we consume everything we can on ourselves. Let me give you an example. I was in a restaurant. Thanks for joining, Matthew. I was in a restaurant a couple weeks ago, and I was sitting across from a guy. Thanks for joining. I was sitting across from a guy that talked about the fact that he can afford to buy a new car every 2 years. Okay, that's wonderful. But why do you need to buy a new car every 2 years? What are you leaving for your grandchildren? This is my grandson. What are you leaving for your grandchildren? You know, if you are buying a car every 2 years, that means you're a consumer. You're consuming on yourself and you're selfish. That means that you're not leaving anything for your grandchild. The money that you're spending every 2 years to purchase a new car for yourself can be put away in an account, in a trust fund for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. If you selfishly consume on yourself, when you die and all you leave your family is debt and possibly a life insurance policy, thank you for joining me, then you have buried your money with you. You know, you have selfishly consumed everything that you can because you want to prove to people that you can afford certain things. You're not proving it to yourself, because when you look at someone, thanks for joining, when you look at your bank account, you know what you can afford. You buy things to prove to other people that you can afford that. How much sense does that make? Do you really care that much about what people think about you? Thanks for joining. Do you really care that much about what... Thanks, you gonna hold it?
Yeah.
What other people think about you, that you would spend your money selfishly just to show them that you can afford some things? That's burying your money with you. You don't want to do that. I don't want this little guy... Thanks for joining me. I don't want this little guy, when he gets to college or gets out of high school, going to college, I want him to already have a college fund prepared for him. I don't want him to have to think about, who am I going to get a student loan from? Can I get a student loan? Where can I go to college? You know, I want that information to already be prepared for him. I don't want him to think about, is Sally Mae or any type of bank, FAFSA. Are these people... Thank you. This is a Pistons jersey with Allen Iverson throwback jersey that I purchased several years ago. But thanks. I'm going to let my grandson go inside now because it's a little cool outside, and then I'll finish the topic. If you guys would just give me one moment so his father, my son, can take him inside for a moment. Nope, you just hold it.
Come on.
Okay, thanks again. But thanks for joining. When I was talking about him, leaving a legacy for him and for our great-grandchildren. When my grandson gets college age, he should not have to be concerned about college money for college. It's my responsibility as a grandparent, it's his father's responsibility as a parent to make sure that when we work and when we go to work, thanks for joining, when we go to work and when we accumulate funds, that when we get, I'm just going to use a low amount, $500 a week. That's not low for some people. That's a lot. So if I offend you, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that. But if you're getting $500 a week, that's $2,000 to $2,500 a month. If you spend every cent on yourself, that's selfish. That's very selfish, and you're not thinking about your future generations. Now, even if you don't want to have children, that's fine, but how will you be remembered on earth? You know, will anybody remember your name when you die? What type of legacy will you leave? Even if you don't want children, will you build a business that provides a needed service for someone, you know, for many years to come? Or will you just, you know, sit there and buy things because you know that you can? You know, it's about leaving a legacy for the future generations. It's not about showing people what we can afford. It's not about, you know, proving to someone that I can live in a $300,000 house. Yes, you can. But what about your future generations? Are they going to be able to live in that house? You know, what are your future generations going to be able to have things that, start things. Thank you. Or your future generations are going to be able to carry on a legacy and not have to start from square one. It's simply irresponsible, very irresponsible and selfish of us to consume every cent, every penny, everything we have on ourselves, and basically just to show someone else that we can. I'll give you another example. I have a friend from high school. A couple years ago, he hasn't talked to me since this this incident, but there were some new Jordans coming out at that time, and this guy was in his 40s. We're in our 40s, okay? He was talking about getting those Jordans before anyone else. Why? He wanted to wear those Jordans before anyone else so that someone can see him in those shoes and say, "Hey, you got the new Jordans." Really? Is that what's important to you? Is somebody telling you got the new Jordans before they did very important? Is that something that you are looking forward to on your daily life? You're right. I was thinking, dude, you're too old to be thinking this way. You have children. Those $200 shoes can be college fund. Those $200 shoes can be a stock. Those $200 shoes can be an investment in his future. When you die, what are you going to do with those shoes? That's the idea. When you pass away, is your family going to be able to sell all your Jordans, all your rims, everything that you've left behind, if you haven't left them behind in any debt, or, because probably we do, what is your family going to be able to do with that? It's nice to have some shoes, nice shoes, but can you wear them all at one time? If you have a closet full of shoes, $200 and $300 shoes, can you eat those shoes? Can your children eat those shoes? What is the thinking behind that? No, you can't eat those shoes. You have to put away something for your future generations. We think about why we're here on earth, right? And we procreate, we have generation after generation after generation after generation. So these generations, that we provide, this is called our legacy. What type of legacy are you leaving? When you pass away, who's going to remember your name? My grandmother, I don't remember my great grandmother. I have no, I've heard no stories about her. I have no idea what her name is. I remember my grandmother though. My grandmother is a topic of conversation every time my family gets together. She passed away back in 2003, but she left a legacy. She taught us how to live. She taught us how to love. She taught us how to come together. She was very meaningful and a core part of the family. So every time we have a family gathering, we talk about this woman who taught us everything that we know. Pardon me, I'm sorry. But my great grandmother, I don't know anything about her. And then when I pass away, I want my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren to remember something that I did for them, something that I left for them. I want them to show pictures of me. These are my great-grandmother's businesses that she started for us. Not for me, but for us. Okay, sure, we lost our identity. That doesn't mean we can't get it back. You know what I'm saying? We can start today. If you haven't started building a legacy for your family already, you can start with today. There's nothing, friends, can you be nice? Thanks. But anyway, no one's stopping you from building a legacy today, okay? No one's stopping you. The only person that's stopping you is you. When you get paid, you can put away $10 now, $10, $15, whatever you can in account for your grandchildren. If you don't have any children yet, then you can put some away for later. Thanks for joining. If you don't have any children yet, you can put some away for later. Yes, you can pay yourself first, but you can always think about your future generations. When you die, your bank accounts are not going in the casket with you, and if they do, if they do, it's a disservice to everyone around you. To be able to consume, thank you. To consume everything on yourself is selfish. That's my point. The idea of burying your money with you, it means to simply selfishly consume everything you can on yourself. And basically, it's for other people. You're doing it for other people. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for other people. You want to show other people what you can afford. But when you look at your bank account, you already know. The information is already there. You already know what you can afford. So I want to encourage you all. Please don't bury your money with you. Leave a legacy for your family, for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You don't want them to start at square one. It's square one. Every generation should not have to start at square one. That's selfish of us to do that to them. It's selfish. If we go out and I as you can see, I love basketball. Basketball truly is my favorite sport. I would go to a game at least once a month. Once a month. Thank you. Because that's my entertainment. But once a month, I have to put money away in a bank account for my children. That's why they say selfish people live longer. Yeah, probably because they consume on themselves. But I have to put away money also in a bank account for my children and my grandchildren. My grandson doesn't even know that he has a bank account. He really doesn't need to know. But when the time comes, the money will be there for him to use as he needed. I can still enjoy my basketball games. Yeah, that's true. It's when it comes to being selfish. What I mean by selfish, you don't want to always consume on yourself. You want to take care of yourself, yes. But you don't want to consume to the point where you leave nothing left to other generations. If you consume to the point where you leave nothing for the other generations and you die, then you have buried your money with you. So I don't do nails, as you can see. I don't go and get my hair done every 2 weeks. This is my natural hair. I do it myself. I don't get a pedicure and manicure, every 2 weeks, because those are things I can do myself. Now, every now and then I do those things to pamper myself. But I'm always thinking about my hair did. That's right. I'm always thinking about my other generations, those that, yes, Team Natural. Woo! I'm always thinking about those after me. I have daughters. I have a son. I have a grandson. I have to consciously be thinking about what their lives are going to be like. I have to consciously be thinking about what are they going to need in their future. I have to consciously be thinking about how can I help them be better citizens and not struggle. I know what it feels like to struggle. Like I've said in previous videos, I was a teen mother. The great thing was my mother didn't let me off the hook. She made me go to work. I still had to go to school. So I had to graduate from high school. That's right, in here. I had to graduate from high school and continue to work through that time. But that taught me how to be responsible. Still, even with my mistakes, I still had to learn how to be responsible. I still had to learn how to take care of my responsibility. And then I have to think about, okay, how am I going to provide for his future? You know, it took me a while because I had to start from the bottom, you know, because my mother left me nothing. My father left me nothing. My grandmother left me nothing but great information. You know, she left me some great information, which was a start. But I had to start from the bottom, and I do my daughters and my son a disservice by forcing them to make by forcing them to start from the bottom, making sacrifices not only for yourself but for your offspring. That's right, T, and I appreciate that. It's a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. It's getting a little dark out here. As you guys can see, the sun is going down here in Texas, but this was supposed to be an intro, but I guess I went a little bit longer than I thought. But maybe later on today or possibly tomorrow, then we can talk about this more. And I can give you a few tips on how to leave a legacy and what you can do to leave a legacy for your family, because you don't want to be, if you love your family, let me get a little bit closer because it's getting darker. If you love your family, love you too. That's if you love your family, you will leave them something behind. I'll leave you guys with this. My father passed away in 2012, in December 2012. My father passed away. Now, I didn't have a relationship with my father. I spent time with him in the summers growing up, but I didn't really know him. I didn't even know his birthday, you know. So when he passed away, he really had done not much for me other than when I spent those summers with him. I actually stayed with other family members. So we didn't have a relationship. And when he passed away, he left me nothing. You know, I thought, this man did nothing for me in life and he's done nothing for me in death. You know, and for a minute, I was a little salty. Yes, I can be honest with you and with myself. For a minute, I was a little salty because I was like, this man did nothing for me in life, nor has he done nothing for me in death. That was a selfish thing of him. And perhaps no one taught him, you know, that he's supposed to do that or how to do that. Hold on. But I was upset about that for a moment. But then I had to think, why didn't he do that? Turn the light on for me. Thanks. I had to think about, why didn't he do that? You know, perhaps he didn't know, so I couldn't get upset with him for something that he possibly didn't know. But now I know, you know, and I want to help you know, and your children. I want you to pass it on to your children so we can build and continue to build. Let us be the first brick, and our children will be the second brick, and their children will be the third brick, and so on and so forth. And that's how you build legacies. You start somewhere. Someone has to be the foundation. I'm going to get in this light over here. Okay. Someone has to be the foundation, okay? Can we be the foundation? You know? Can we be that foundation? So, let's not bury our money with us, okay? Let's not think selfishly about how much we can consume and show off to other people what we can purchase. Because remember, you look at your bank account. They don't need to know. Really, it's none of their business. You don't need to prove to someone that you can afford something. You know, that's right. We have to be the foundation. We have to start. We have to set it up. You know, if we don't, we fail our generations. We fail our next generations. And we don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Do you? You know, so I thank you guys for joining me. I'll be on again later. I like to have notes with me. This was like kind of impromptu. I like to have notes and information. That's right. Trying to keep up with the Joneses. They don't know that the Joneses is in a whole lot of debt. And when they die, guess what? They would have buried their money with them. And actually, they're going to bury their children's money with them, too, because their children are going to have to take up for that debt. Their children are going to have to take over that debt, you know. So I appreciate you guys for joining me tonight. I love you all. You are beautiful. You are handsome. You are smart. You wait a minute. You are lovely. I love you too, Shay. We are builders, okay? We are builders, you know? Thank you. We are builders. We don't want to tear down something. I love you all. Thank you, T. I love you all. You is kind. That's what it is. You is smart. You is kind. I appreciate you guys. I love you, and please join me again. Next time I'll have some notes and some information on how to build, you know, and so we can get this thing started and start working on our future generations. I love you all. Peace. Okay.